तुम लोग मुझे ढूंढ रहे हो और मैं तुम्हारा यहाँ इंतजार कर रहा हूँ.
What are you doing? Okay, this is a movie review for Deewaar. Are you going to speak?
There's a great wall between us right now.
Okay.
Why would I sign this? I'll tell you what, I will sign this after the guy that made Dad sign it, after the guy who fired Mom and abused her from carrying bricks on her head signs it. After that, I'll sign whatever piece of paper you give me.
Okay, so we're doing a movie review about Deewaar. Did you like the film? You need to speak. You need to actually be yourself. You're not Big B.
I am Big B.
No, you're not Big B.
I have the intro to prove that I'm Big B.
Okay, so...
Did I like the film?
So this is the 1975 version, obviously.
Did I like the film?
We were told not to watch the 2004 film.
I am the film.
Although I have to say, after reading about the 2004 film, it actually sounds intriguing as well. But nonetheless, this is a review of the 1975 classic.
I have a bungalow, I have a flat, I have real estate, I have a bank account, I have cars.
Okay. But you don't have the presence of mind to do this movie review right now.
This was a great movie.
Is it in the top 100?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
And again, this top 100 stuff is not in order. It's just the top 100 movies. But I think if we were to quantify this, it's in the top 5. This is a top 5 movie, I think.
Wow. Wow.
We see the story of this family unfold.
Right. Starting with the father, who was kind of like a labor or a union leader.
Right. And he was fighting for the common people. And
for basic rights.
And he was an idealistic guy. Mm-hmm. He had very much, what he wanted to better people.
Right.
And the mine owner was pseudo-mafia.
Very corrupt, right? Criminal.
Kidnapped his family and said, oh, no, we're not doing this. You'll sign.
Right.
Or bad things will happen to your family. Right. And so he sold everybody out.
Right.
He signed to get his family back, but he never explains it. He never says, no, you don't understand. This is what happened.
Right.
He just goes on a train ride that never ends.
Well, and he goes on the train ride because all of the people who were, part of the union with him, the mine workers, they basically want to run him out of town, but he never even explains why he did what he did. And so then his oldest son gets kind of, taken captive by some of his mine workers.
Yes, they're drunk.
And they tattoo
My father's a thief on his arm.
On Vijay's arm. Now, you did not believe at the beginning of this film what I knew to be true.
What?
That the oldest son of these two young boys was going to be Big B's character.
Oh,
You're like, no, I don't think so. I said, yes, that is going to be Big B. Mark my words. You're like, no, it's not. And then, of course, it was. I mean, you could see how angry he was. You could see the face, The
little kid had the Big B face down.
He sure did.
Especially when he picked up that brick and he threw it at the foreman.
Hit him right in the face.
Yes,
wow.
Took off running.
Yeah, that was really good. And the scene where he was the shoe shiner.
Yes.
And he's like, I don't pick up money.
I'm not a beggar.
I'm not a beggar.
I worked for this.
Right. Yes. I don't pick up money. That's Big B.
So we see the dad then kind of leave in disgrace, and he abandons his family,
leaves the family,
and they kind of become homeless. They say there's too much abuse happening here. We're going to Mumbai. So she gathers the kids, and they go to Mumbai, and they're homeless. They're living on the streets.
Under a bridge.
Mom is finding whatever work she can find.
Right. So she's trying to help, construct this building, and she's carrying bricks. But she's having a hard time because she's a single mom, and she's exhausted, and they barely have any food. And so one day the supervisor, the foreman, basically tells her, you're drunk. What are you doing? Get out of here. And, starts to kind of abuse her. And that's when little Big B.
Ravi.
Vijay.
I'm sorry, Vijay, yes.
Vijay picks up the rock and boom, just throws it, hits the dude in the face.
We see Ravi fall in love with school. He wants to go to school and do things like that. Right. But mom is super poor and can't afford it. And Vijay agrees with mom, I'll work too.
Right.
And we'll put him in school.
Yes.
And
So that's what happens.
he shares the burden with Mom. And a special
Right.
bond forms between Mom and Vijay.
Right. And where we find out later that Vijay is actually Mom's favorite.
Yes. Much to Ravi's disgust.
Yeah.
Ravi
I
looks
don't think
PO'd
Mom-
at the end of the film. Like,
Yeah, I don't think Mom should have ever let that
set
slip.
that.
Yeah.
Think it, not say it.
Yeah, that's when you hear about sibling rivalry, that really kind of throws fuel on the fire of sibling rivalry when you hear Mom say, well, Vijay's my favorite.
And then, so we see the boys grow. Well, we saw the scene with the shoe shine,
Right.
and he's shining the shoe of mobsters,
Yes.
by mobsters.
Right.
And the one head of it says that, you see that dude right there, that little dude? Because he
Right.
says, well, no, you hand me the money. Don't
Right.
throw it. I'm not a beggar.
And so the one mobster says to the other one,
Hand him
yeah,
the money.
hand him the money, pick it up, hand him the money.
Yes.
And he
they
does.
said that boy's going to go somewhere one
Right.
day.
He will go places and he will be something one day.
Yes. And
20 years later?
Yeah, and so then the story kind of picks up where he's a dock worker.
Right.
And the brother is out of school trying to find a job, but he can't
Yes.
find a job.
Right.
Nobody wants to hire him.
Right.
And boy, I think the Indian job market's got to be tough because there's like 1.5 billion people
Right.
looking for a
A
job.
lot of people
Like-
looking for jobs.
Like you put up a job, it's like, well, there's literally 1,000 people waiting for the same job.
And he's got this girlfriend, though, and come to find out, he's looking and looking and looking for jobs, and then come to find out, what is it, her father, who's in the police force? Like, hey, I don't know, maybe
Why don't
you
you become a
want
cop?
to
He's like,
mention
"What?"
that, some time ago. And he's like, well, I don't know. And so, yeah, he ends up, becoming a police commissioner, I think, or inspector.
Yes, and then we see Vijay start to beat up the rival gangs, and
Well, it starts when he's a dock worker, and
Yes.
he's decided he sees one of his fellow workers get beat up because the fellow worker's like, I'm not paying you hush money, basically. And so he gets
Protection.
beat up, and then he gets killed. And so Vijay's like, well, you know what? There's going to be another person who's not paying that money, and it's him. And his coworkers are like, oh, you can't do it. And he's like, I'm going to do it. So he doesn't pay the protection money either. And then hilarity ensues.
the fight scene was
The
awesome.
fight scene was so great.
He was doing flying laryonets and
that
all kinds
was
of
so great.
Yes,
that was so
But
fun.
out of
I
that
loved it.
fight, he makes a name for himself,
Yes.
and the crime lord, one of the crime lords, says,
Right.
"Are you the guy? Come work for me. We got a
Right.
job for you." And
Right.
then they start to piece together. This was the kid shining the shoes, and it's
Right.
like, what?
Well, I think Vijay tells him.
Yeah.
Because remember, he's looking out the window at kind of the shores of the beach there, and he mentions, about how so many years ago, him and his mother and his brother came, and mentions, that he was the one who was giving the shoe shines, and so so then we kind of follow their divergent life choices and the paths on which they travel.
So Vijay becomes a very successful underlord,
Right.
and his brother becomes a well-respected police officer out
Right.
of the academy, and he's
Right.
assigned the case of his brother.
Right.
And
he's,
so
he doesn't want to take
He
it.
doesn't want to take it.
And his boss basically nicely prods him
yes.
and says, think about this,
Yes.
but it really makes sense that you're the one who
Yes.
should do this.
Yes.
And so he goes home and, he doesn't immediately go home. What happens between then and him deciding to take the case is that he's out on the streets chasing a couple of thieves. And it looks like they have shoplifted.
Yes. He
So
shoots
petty
him.
theft.
He shoots him.
He shoots
That's
him.
a little harsh, I
in the
thought.
leg. He says,
Yeah.
"You stop whining, basically. You're going to live. I shot you in the leg." Only to find out that all he did was steal some bread because his family is starving. And so now he goes to the home of this family because he feels bad and he's trying to bring them some food. And when he says who he is, the guy that he shot, his mom flips out. She's like, "Get out of my house. We're poor, and the police only come after poor people." And
you never go after the smugglers.
Right. Why don't you ever go after the smugglers?
Which is his brother.
Right. And so that's when he decides basically, okay, I'm going to take this case. And so he does. And then, kind of goes into the second half of the film, basically, where he confronts his brother. He's in the nice home, and Mom now knows that Vijay is a crime underlord.
Yes.
She just believed him when she's like, "Oh, I hope you're not doing anything bad, anything you shouldn't do." And he's like, "Nope, I'm not doing anything I shouldn't do."
So, I was made to do this.
Right, exactly. From his standpoint, he's like, "Nope, this is what I should be doing." But he knows exactly what it is that she's saying. She doesn't want him engaging in illegal activities. Mom was pretty naive in this film, I have to say. She was pretty naive.
I liked at the intermission how it was a great divide
Yes.
separating the two brothers, which
exactly.
I thought was great.
Yes.
And then we see the second half of the film. We see this whole play now for the police coming after Vijay,
Right.
and how the noose is kind of getting tight around him, and he's on the run. And Vijay, being a mobster, being a good mobster that he is, has a woman in hiding. Maybe Anita, was that her name?
Right.
Anita?
So he has Anita.
He's got a flat. He's got
his
got
brother
a
also
bungalow.
has a girlfriend, although
Yes.
he, of course, is doing things the right way.
Yeah, they're tickling each other.
Right. They're not living together, having sex before they're married.
Is banging this girl.
Right.
And there was a scene that I was a little surprised where they were in bed together and his shirt's off.
I was a little surprised
And,
with that too.
that had to be so risque at the
In
time.
1975, absolutely.
The women had to be like this. Ooh, ooh, that's hot.
Well, and they did have Anita was fully clothed, so
Yes.
so that's cool, because if that were an American film, I mean, she would have been in 1975. She wouldn't have been totally naked.
Yeah,
she just
but
would have
you
been mostly
You
naked.
would have seen her breasticles, absolutely.
Well, she would have been in
seen
a
them.
bra, I'm sure. But yeah, nowadays, so she'd just be flat out naked if that was an American film.
And there's a great dialogue in the movie.
There was a lot of great dialogue
where
in this
he's
film.
telling the brother, "I have this," and the brother
Yes,
says, "I
it was
have
the
Mom.
under the bridge scene.
I have Mom."
Yes, which some of our friends
And it was just like
tipped us
whoa.
off to, and that was
Whoa, it was a great,
wow,
it was a great,
wow.
great scene.
How do you respond? I mean,
Yeah,
it's clear.
well, it's
VJ
true.
Vijay knows. Yeah, you're right. That if there's any treasure in this world that trumps what I have, yep, you're right. It's Mom.
And what I loved about the film, I loved the music. I thought that the soundtrack
It was really
awesome.
good. Yeah, yeah.
I loved the fact that we get to a point in the movie where the pressure's on Vijay.
Yes.
The pressure's on him, and he's on the run from his brother, and he comes to see Anita in his little love nest.
Right.
And he makes a drink and he hands her one, and she says,
Because
"I'm not drinking."
they want to celebrate that his mom is okay. Because
Yes.
remember, she's in the
I
hospital.
forgot about that.
She's in the hospital.
Let's back up and talk about it, because this is an important part of the movie.
He wants to go see her.
The whole movie, he's avoiding going to temple.
Yes.
He's avoiding, like, nope,
Even as a
nope,
small
nope.
child, he'll sit on the steps
Nope, not
outside,
going, not
but
going.
he will not go in. And so Mom is ill,
Right,
and they don't know if
yes.
she's going to live or not. So she's at the hospital.
Yes, thank you. I forgot about this.
But his brother, the police officer, has kind of put he has. How do you want to put it? He's surrounded the whole hospital with police officers.
Because they figure he would show up and
Right,
just grab
right.
him.
And so now the brother feels bad because he's like, what kind of a brother am I? I'm keeping Vijay from coming to see his mom because if he comes, he's going to get arrested. Well, Vijay's girlfriend kind of goes into the hospital to hear the scuttlebutt of what's going on. So she comes and tells him, Mom is in there and it doesn't look very good. And so he basically, to paraphrase, says to the girlfriend, my mom used to tell me, that when you couldn't get anywhere, when all roads are
Were
blocked,
blocked,
basically,
there's one
there's
that's
one place to go.
Yes.
And so he goes to the temple.
Yes.
And, is very angry, angry young man, Big B. And so he kind of has it out,
With the idol.
And yes.
And
then
it's a great dialogue that
yes.
a monologue.
And
I
basically, don't punish my mom for me.
Yes.
Do what you want to do
Punish
with
me for
me,
me.
but save my mom's life. And
guess.
so
Outstanding dialogue. I mean,
Right.
that scene I thought was, I like Big B. I mean,
Big B's awesome.
You love him.
yes, I do.
But after that scene, I became a fan of Big B.
He's a great actor.
Where he gives that monologue to the idol, and he's just reacting off the idol. about his sins and what his, this is what my mother gets, basically.
And basically she suffered her whole life.
Yes,
and,
yes.
Just
Outstanding
take
scene.
me, don't take her. And so right at that moment, Mom wakes up at the hospital.
Yes.
And so she's okay. She gets to go home.
And she wants to go to the temple.
She wants to go to the temple.
She feels good. I'm
right.
going to go to the temple.
So she says to her son and his girlfriend, before we go home, let's go to the temple. So they get there. And
it's like a priest or something.
The temple priest says, your son had been here.
Yeah.
And she looks at her police officer son.
No, not him. The other one.
No, the other one. The older one.
Crazy.
And so then Big B gets the phone call, or the girlfriend gets the phone call that Mom is out of the hospital. She's okay. And he wants to celebrate.
Yes.
He's like, let's have a drink.
Yes.
And she says, I've stopped drinking. And he's like, what?
Yes.
Why? Why have you stopped drinking? And then she says, I'm going to be a mother.
Yes.
And basically, tries to let him off the hook. If you don't want to marry me, okay, but I'm going to have this baby. Well, he loves her, and so he wants to marry her. So he's going to do the right thing.
Yeah, he's
going to
turn
get married.
himself in.
I'm going to turn myself in.
And I truly thought this is how the film was going to end. The resolution was going to be a happy ending.
Oh, naive Jeremy.
He makes these things, and he goes and he surrenders to the brother, and we end up with a nice, peaceful.
Now,
that's what I thought was going to happen. I was shocked at the turn that this movie took.
You're killing my ear. You're killing my ear.
You know what? You're killing my ear.
Too loud.
Right?
Okay. Okay. So I told you. I don't know when we did the trailer review. Maybe I forget when it was, but we did a video recently where I told you, "Oh, I knew what was going to happen." You're like, you don't know what's going to happen. I said, oh, yes, I do. Yeah. I told you that I knew what was going to. Well, because you were saying Masan was predictable.
It was very predictable. This was not predictable.
And I said to you, well, I know what's going to happen in Deewaar. You're like, no, you don't. Well, yes, I did. Now, I will tell you, I didn't see Anita being killed. I didn't know that was coming.
Spoiler. I can't believe you just said that.
I know.
Spoilers.
43 years later.
Spoilers.
However, I knew that it was going to come down to a battle between him and the brother, and somebody's going to die, and it has to be Big B. You know how I knew? Do you care to know?
Enlighten us, please.
Because this was done in the same time period as Sholay. He was angry young man then.
Oh, he died in Sholay?
He died in Sholay. I knew he was going to have to die in this film. And you know why? Because I love happy endings. And often I don't get happy endings in films like this. And so I was just waiting for when it was going to happen. And of course he does die. And also, let's go all the way back to the beginning of the film when his police officer brother is receiving a commendation. Mom is there in the audience. Police officer brother's wife is there. There's no dad. There's no brother. And so when we start to see the whole film kind of be told through the mom's eyes, it has to be that there's no Big B because he dies. She looks so sad when her son is up there getting this award.
That's true. And we also find out they find Dad and he's dead.
He's
he
dead.
Just died. He died on the train.
He's on this train for who knows how long.
For 25 years riding this train.
20 years and he's just dead. Okay.
He's dead.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not laughing at Dad's dead, but it was just like...
Yeah, we kind of wondered, do we ever find out what happens with Dad?
And you're right, because I completely forgot the movie started off with him receiving an award for this great case that he broke.
And you had forgotten that's how it started.
She's just thinking about everything that's led up to this point.
And I remember that.
Genius. It was genius. It was brilliant.
Right.
I loved it.
So I knew Big B's going to die.
Back to Rita and her big old butt.
Okay, why'd you have to do that?
I'm trying to drive you back into the storyline.
No more of that.
Joshua just texted and said Russell Peters is going to be at Cityscape, $40 each. Ooh, that's a little rich for Russell
That has
Peters.
Nothing to do with this movie review.
That's true.
Zero.
That's true.
So let's truly get back to what happened. So Mom's sad at this commendation ceremony.
But back that up. Back it up, yo. Vijay is going to turn himself in and do all these things. And he called Mom and said, Mom, I'm going to be at the temple. Bless me. Can I have your blessing? I'm going to do what's right.
She says, of course, I'll come and bless you.
She's excited.
Yes.
And while he's doing all this stuff, he leaves Anita so she can change. And
because she wants to wear the sari that her mom had given her.
And he comes back to get her. And
Only
while
to
he was
find
gone,
she'd been murdered by Samant and his men.
Samant. Ooh, Samant shot first. That's
So
all I'm going to say. Samant shot first.
So Samant was trying to get revenge on Big B because Big B, basically hornswoggled him earlier on in the film.
Which was hilarious.
Which was great.
Yes.
So he's trying to get his revenge. Okay, so he gets revenge by killing Big B's girlfriend. But then Big B goes to his house.
No, you got a choice. Do you just go turn yourself in and pay for... Or, no, Big B says no.
He knows he's going to turn himself in, but first, he's going to do this first. He's going to take care of this guy.
Tell me Big B's not me.
There were some similarities
there was
to
a
a young Jeremy.
When I kicked in the door and started killing all the gangsters because they killed you, that's exactly the same.
Okay, anyway, back to...
How I died at the temple?
Back to our movie review. So he goes to Samant's house, kicks the door in, and Samant says, "What are you doing here?
Like, what do you think I'm doing here? What do you think I'm doing here?
You just killed his girlfriend. You don't know why he's there?"
I'm here to apologize.
That was so crazy.
I'm here to sell Amway.
Yes, but also another very risque scene because he's in bed with his girlfriend, and she's not wearing a shirt. She's wearing a bra.
Yes. And he gets pummeled in his underwear.
That
and thrown
was
out the window.
Hilarious. He kind of picks him up fireman carry style and then boom, right out the window.
Throws him out the window, yo. That was awesome.
So we were cracking up at that.
We were cracking up at that. It was funny.
Was very funny. And then we cracked up some more because when he's outside and he decides he's going to try to make his break because, again, the police have surrounded the building. His brother knows he's there. He's going to take off and he hops into his car and his brother runs and catches up and jumps on top of the car. That was funny.
Yes. And just for brevity, because this is going to turn into a 5-hour rendering nightmare.
Okay.
I loved the movie.
I loved the movie as well.
Final grade.
A.
Easy A.
Yes.
Easy A. I love this movie. If you have not seen it, go see it.
And Big B dies in his mom's lap. That's sad.
If you are a reactor, if you're one of these white reactors who just watch the trailers and not the movie, shame on you. You are cheating yourself out of an experience. Right?
Even if you're not a white reactor. Thank you for watching our videos. Will you please subscribe to our channel? And will you please give this video a thumbs up? Thank you.